Hello, hello, girlies. Welcome back to another episode of Chatty Rats. I am your co host, Natalia, and I'm joined by the one and only.
Sheen. Hello, little rats. Welcome back. We have a juicy little episode for you. First, Miss Natalia went off to the one and only Renaissance Fair, and I want to hear how it was.
Oh my God. Well, I've left the clubbing era and I'm fully in medieval era right now. I have now made all the nerd things and Renaissance fairs, and I'm just embracing that part of myself now. It's my whole personality. So I went with Sheen in LA and it opened up my life. I was like, this is who I am. So I went to the one in Colorado and wow, it was so good, Sheen. It was so good. I don't know
Did
what
it
it was.
top our LA Renaissance Fair?
Okay, I'll
Be
give you this.
honest.
There was no petting zoo, but the infrastructure is insane. So like you really do feel like you're like back in medieval times. And because I'm no amateur, I was able to go to like the knights fighting, like when they charge at
Oh,
each
you
other.
did do that. Oh my God. I'm so
Yes, it
jealous.
went. See, everybody is like huzzah and like cheering for the knights. Like people are popping off. It's just I love the nerds. I love the Renaissance people. And then I got to like play more games. I did like some axe throwing, which was really fun. I like complimented more people. I was just like I was more
Okay.
comfortable. I was like in my groove.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um because I was an expert. I was like, guys, I know exactly what we have to do. And then we saw like a Celtic performance group. Like they were just like bagpiping it up and drumming and
Oh,
stuff.
that's fun.
And they asked for volunteers. And
Of course.
Sheen, I'm shy. So I was like, me. So I got to like twerk and dance like on stage. I can put up the video.
Okay. Oh my God. Please do.
Daniel, Daniel is
Daniel was like
becoming
Chris was like the mean girl's
literally.
mom. The mean girl's
Dude.
mom like filming you.
He's like, I could see him in the crowd, like, yes, girl. That's my.
Oh, that's so cute.
But yeah, no, I love it. Mama loves the Renaissance Fair. I'm ready to follow the Renaissance Fair through the country. Like, if you want to join me, Shane, I'm here.
I want to go to the Denver one now that you say like it's in a forest and like there's actual like structures and buildings. Because the one in LA was
Mhm.
just like booths, like with canopies, like people just put it up.
Yeah,
So I feel like that sounds more legit. But the petting zoo,
they didn't
that's
have
really
it.
sad.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
really,
no
really
petting
sad.
zoo, but they had like a lot of the same, like the Trojan horse, the swing, like so. There was a lot of similarities. Like it's pretty much like the same vibe because I think it's the same company.
Company. Yeah.
But it's a little bit bigger and more spread out, so it didn't feel like as crowded, which I really liked.
Yeah. I don't particularly like the venue of the LA one, to be honest.
Yeah, because it's the park, right?
It's like a rec center type of thing. But yeah,
Hmm.
like a park rec center. How did Daniel like it? Because it was his first time. And I remember when we went, you were like, oh, I think like he can do this. He's never done stuff like this. Like he's never dressed up. And like obviously you're the opposite. Like you love dressing up and you live for like
Yeah,
Halloween and things like that.
it was so funny because I get a little shy in like photos if I'm wearing like a regular like human outfit.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But it's so funny because like for example, like I see you taking pictures and like you're such a natural, like you have like a comfort to it. And I really do feel like I become that, like I channel that like I'm a hot girl energy when I'm in costume. So
Yeah.
when people take my photo and I'm in a costume, like I'm so confident. It's insane. I don't know where this
I
comes
could see
from.
that because you sent me photos and you looked so like hot.
Like relaxed. And I'm just like, oh, like
Yeah.
I'm a knight, like I am a medieval girl. And it's the same thing like when I do my Halloween photo shoots and I'm all bloody, like I can get like very
Yeah.
intense. And like I don't know
Into the character.
what possesses me, but yeah, maybe it's like a character. But Daniel, my guy does not dress up for shit. So I was like, let's see. I started to send him links to things, being like, what can I get away with? And he allowed the cuffs and, like, the belt,
Okay.
the classic setup, and he was like, "Okay, I'll wear, like, some black shorts and, like, a white top." So I was like, "I will take it." And then I sent him one more link, being like, "How about a cape?" And he was like, "Okay, no, relax, maybe next year." Um, and he went and he loved it, like, he, like, glowed up, like, he had, like, the same vibe that we had when we went for the first time, where it was like, "Oh, like, how is this, like, a real thing? Like, how is this, like"
Yeah.
It's nice to have someone
He
that's,
got
like,
into it?
open-minded. Yeah, he loves it now. He was even posing for pictures, which, like, he's, like, more like an introvert, and even in pictures, he's like, "Arg," like, showing his, like, little cuffs, and I was like, "Oh." So, sometimes people might surprise you, Sheen. People might surprise
Yeah.
you.
Well, I also think don't knock it until you try it because,
Exactly.
like, the Renaissance Fair, I guess, like, sounds intimidating from, like, an outside perspective
Mhm.
if you've never been, but, like, once you go, you're like, "Whoa, this is so, so cool." Like, you understand the hype. You get inspired. Like, I'm sure he got inspired by,
Yes,
like, people dressing up and how cool they look. Like, it's
exactly.
sick.
And people pop off so hard, like, if you think you're being a weirdo, like, or you feel like, "Oh, I'm being silly," turn around and there's, like, people, like, sword fighting in the back, and you're like, "Oh, I can do
Yeah.
anything." But my love, how are you? ¿Cómo estás?
I'm good. I was telling you because 'cause you're like, "What did you do this weekend?" I was like, "Girl, I need to just sit my ass home and not do anything." Cause let me be transparent. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I am trying or attempting to save for a nose job.
Oh, shit.
I wanted it forever. I'm gonna eventually do it. And I will tell you guys all about the journey, but that's gonna be like I think I'm gonna schedule it for 2025. So not happening yet, but something,
That's good.
I need to like slowly accrue money for because it'll be a whole thing.
We talked about it in, like, I don't know if you remember, like, we think we talked about plastic surgery and, like, procedures, like,
Yeah.
a year ago, and you actually gave that tip. I don't know if you remember, you were like, if you're thinking about, like, a big change, like, pop off young queen, but
Yeah.
schedule it or put a date that's, like, a year after or something like that, so you can be like, "Okay, like, I really want this."
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
I've been wanting mine since I broke it. And I know, like I was just telling you, I was like, I know everyone's origin story when they talk about nose job is like, I broke my nose, so I'm fixing it. But I really did. So like ever since then, which was middle school, I've wanted one. But also being Persian, it's a rite of passage, girl. We have the largest nose job per capita in the world.
No, dead.
It's a thing there. Like that is the number one surgery in Iran, to the point when I was there, it was trendy to wear bandages outside, even if you like hadn't gotten like a nose job.
Wait,
You
that's
would just wear
hilarious.
it to like be like part of it. So
You're, like, senior year of high school, like, everybody's like, "Hey, babe,
yes,
guess what I
literally,
got."
dude. Literally, dude.
What made you pull the plug and be like, "Okay, let's go." Like, why
Oh,
now?
I've been wanting to do it. Okay, I've been wanting to do it for a really long time, and then I think deep diving more on it and then, like, seeing other people get it and being like, "Oh, wow." Yeah, I think the internet helps in that sense, in a good way and a bad way, but, like, in the way where, like, seeing how people, like, deal with the healing process, what it looks like, the before and afters, but I reached out and decided on the surgeon, which I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go forward with, like,
Mhm.
January of this year.
Okay.
So, it's been a while.
Oh my god, that's
Yeah.
crazy. I don't know, it's like it feels really close, but, it's like 6 months or something
Well,
from now.
no, no, no. I reached out last January, like, as in, like, that was the first
Oh,
time I
okay.
reached out, as in started
Mhm.
inquiring about the process, getting a quote, things like that. So,
Okay, girl.
that's a
Oh my
random.
god.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see if I do it, but I'm pretty sure I will. It's funny because, like, for example, my parents, like, if I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get lip filler, I'm gonna go do this," they'll be like, "No, like, why?" And then the minute I was like, "Oh, I wanna get a nose job," they're like, "Okay, like, we'll come with you." Like, it's so okay and, like, normalized in Persian culture, I can't even explain it. Like, it's just very, like, "I'm gonna go get my eyebrows done" type of thing. Obviously not the same, but you know what I mean. Like, with everything
I
else, they would be like, "No, don't dye your hair, don't do this," but with a nose job, it's like, "Okay, like, I'm coming
like,
with
"Oh,
you."
yeah. That's a weekend." Like, that's a weekend plan. Hey, baby, whatever makes you feel sexier in the end. And I know you, like, you do so much research, like, you don't play around. So I'm excited to see. I am excited to get your pictures with the bandages.
I mean, yeah, if I go, which will be like sometime in 2025, I'll definitely vlog the whole experience. It will be all over the internet. I will be letting everyone know.
I don't really get when people try to hide it anymore because I'm just like,
Because
okay,
you
number one,
can tell.
you can always tell. So it's like, just own
You
it.
can
Just be like, yeah,
always
babe.
tell.
Yeah.
Like you didn't all of a sudden just wake up with a different nose.
I've like some friends that have BBLs, and it's like, girl, no amount of squats got you there,
You
baby.
can just tell, dude. There's the way they do it to the hips, you can just tell.
It's just the world we live in now. Like, might as well just own it and be like, oh, I got a little something, something, you know?
Yeah.
That's a big update.
A random update, but basically that's why my ass is staying home. I just need to like save for a bit. I just need to not spend for a little bit.
No, it's not cheap. So I totally get that. But now you can start a little TikTok series about free things to do. So,
I was thinking that free or cheaper things to do. I was on that tip a little bit. I need to get back into it.
yeah, no, I love that. I'm excited because I know you're going to walk everybody through the process. I don't have a ton of influencer friends, but you're very honest. So I'm excited to
Yeah.
hear like full, like honest feedback on like the procedure and like how things go. And like, I'm excited. So yeah. So I'm getting back to having a life again, which is delightful. I'm living a little. I don't know if you can tell in my voice, but I sound like happier all of a sudden now that I'm not doing like 12-hour days. But
Aw.
I had like a very nice, sweet moment this week that I wanted to share with the podcast that honestly like made me like almost cry. I was like, oh, this is beautiful. But one of my best friends, Clara, shout out Clara, she has been getting a PhD for the last 6 years. It's like a really long process. And she sent out like her Zoom link so we can watch her defend her thesis. So basically, like if you're getting a PhD, if you don't know, you have like a whole research project, you write a big in-depth thesis about it, and then you go in front of a panel to like defend it, show your data, and be like, give me that PhD, baby. So you can invite people. So she invited me, which I was honored. I was like, oh my God, that's so nice of you to include me in that moment. So her advisor introduced her, and you could see that he was like really excited about her. She's a very lovable person, very smart. And she did her whole thesis, and it was really nice to see my friend give her life's work up in here, you know, like her blood and tears.
Yeah.
And she was incredible, such a good speaker. Like, I was very interested in her research. It was very well done. And at the end, you know, she had like a couple of acknowledgments. She acknowledged her family. But I also noticed while on the Zoom call that her ex partner was on it. So I saw that when I
Aw.
got on the Zoom. And then at the end, as part of her acknowledgement, she acknowledged him and was like, you know, like, thank you to
Aw.
you, to my old partner. He was with me through my PhD. Like, thank you for your support, something along those lines. And I kind of had a sentiment that, wow, like life is so messy and complex, but like against all odds, like, I mean, at least for them, they still manage to stay friends. And obviously, you don't hear that very often. It doesn't always work out.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see a story in which like two people ended something and then they have this acknowledgement and like this mutual respect.
Yeah.
I really do think this is like an authentic two people that like respect and appreciate each other. And I thought that was very nice because seeing someone present 6 years worth of work and then even
Yeah.
have this moment of like, damn, this is one thing that happened during this process, a big breakup, and seeing her like succeed and thrive, and you could see the pride in her face. Like it was very beautiful. I just really made me think about humanity and like how complex life is, but in the end, you can have this product that you're so proud of. Everybody that was in that Zoom call was people that like love and support her. And you can even tell like her advisors, you could tell they were like so proud of her. So it was just cool to
Mm.
see that. So I think a good lesson for the babies here is that like life is gonna be messy, but baby, you're still gonna get that big accomplished, awesome moment. It's coming, but just let life take its course. But yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. What do you think about that?
I also think it's beautiful that obviously this accomplishment is huge and like congrats to her and like that on itself is not something everyone in this world can do. So that's huge.
Mhm.
But I think it's nice that she got to like acknowledge people who were there like along the way, even if they weren't there with her when she like finished it. And I
Yes.
think that's like such a beautiful thing about life is a lot of times people are there to like shape us to who we become today, even if they're not still on the journey of life with us. And that's like a really rare gift
Yes.
for him to witness her like accomplish this big thing and then for her to also acknowledge that he was a part of it. Even like her
Yeah.
family and friends obviously as well, but I just think that's so cool and so rare just to
I
witness.
agree.
I
It's
love
very
it.
beautiful. And I think it goes to show people are in your lives sometimes temporarily. And if you're lucky, sometimes even still. But I thought that was like
Yeah.
very beautiful. And shout out to you, Clara, because that's pretty fucking badass. And
It
you gave me a life
is.
lesson.
Just a random
um,
question. How long are those like the defending thing? Long is that
Probably
process?
like an hour of her
Okay.
talking, and like presenting and
And then
stuff.
people just ask questions, as in like the
Mhm.
advisors and stuff ask questions like while it's happening.
Or at the end, yeah, pretty much.
Can you say what her research is about or no?
I don't know. Maybe not because it's not published yet. So
Oh,
I'll wait.
okay,
But
fair
it is
enough.
in ecology. I'll give it a shout out later on when that puppy comes out fresh off the press.
Okay, sick.
But yeah, that was my feel good moment of the week.
Okay, I'm gonna steal the show with
Woo!
something quite the opposite. Okay, so let me get my screenshot ready.
Oh yes, you know it's good when there's a screenshot ready.
Okay, I believe I talked about this date on the podcast. Do you think I did?
I'm gonna go
Count.
with yes.
Right? Okay. So, guys, I was on Hinge and I was doing my little daily check in to see, who's throwing a little bone to Sheen. And what do I see? Like a long message, like when someone likes you. And I was like, why is that so long?
Chill.
Let's read it. We got sushi once. It wasn't bad, but I don't think either of us thought it was great. You're so attractive. Would you be interested in giving it another try?
No, I can't. That opening.
So I sent it to Michelle. She said something funny. She was like, why is it that men will speak on like both of behalves? Because she was saying she experienced the same thing where she went on a date with this guy and saw him, like ran into him again. And he was like, yeah, like I think we both just didn't think the date was that great. And then, work got busy. So like it just never happened. And she's like, why is it that guys will say, I think we both? It's like, why can't you speak for yourself? Like, what if I thought the date was great? I'm just kidding.
What if
Obviously, I
I
didn't.
was in love?
Yeah, but I just think it is interesting. And I was like thinking about that, like why they might do that. Maybe it's a bit more protective because it's easier to like speak on both than to be like, I thought it wasn't that great. Because that's
Well,
scary, right? If he's like, I thought it
yeah.
wasn't great, makes it seem like,
I want to be the bad guy in the story,
yeah, exactly. It's more like
right?
we both didn't think it was great.
Yeah, I feel like it removes any like guilt or like accountability for like if you were in love, I'm so sorry. But you
Yeah.
know what? Guys also do that on the opposite end of the stick too. They'll be like I know that this probably really hurt you. Like I'm so sorry for that. And I'm always like, bitch, when? Who cares about you?
Yeah.
So
It's
I
weird
just
how they
they
speak.
do that. That's so annoying.
I just thought the whole thing was hilarious because it just speaks about the dating scene at this moment. Because
Yeah.
also, why would you want to go on a date with someone that you thought wasn't great? But also, if you truly wanted to give it another try, like you should have done it then. You should have tested the waters for a second date, right? Go for a
Yeah.
walk, go grab another coffee. If the date was weird and it didn't go well, like why write me off? But to like slide back in a couple months later like that, and also write you're so attractive, like why would that make me want to go on another date with you?
But didn't you say also this date was like garbage, but he also like didn't walk you to your car? Like there
Yes, it
was
was very
tea.
awkward. Well, okay, here is the things that I just thought. Like, I thought sometimes your environment is awkward, and our environment was very awkward. Like, we were at a sushi restaurant and there was people so close to us on both sides, and it just feels,
Mm.
I think it's very awkward when you're on a first date and everyone can hear your conversations and it's just like very cramped. So
Yeah.
that was one thing. And like the chairs, it was just very awkward environment.
Yeah.
That was one. Two, he made very weird comments throughout the dates. And the conversation just flowed very weird. Like he would be like, "Oh, I feel like you're asking all the questions. Like I have so many questions for you." And then he wouldn't ask the questions.
You're like, "Where they at? Where are the questions?"
But he would ask like inappropriate questions. Like he asked, "Is your family rich?" And I feel like that's a very weird question
Mm.
to ask on a
Oh
first
my
date.
god.
And then, yes, of course, we went on a walk after, and then he like was like, "Oh, where are you parked?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm over here." And then like once we got to the head of the street and I was like deep in it, he was like, "Okay, bye." And it was just very awkward. He like didn't walk me down the dark alley.
Good
So
luck.
yeah, and then he never talked to me. Oh, he never talked to me again. And then he unmatched
Mm.
me a few days after. So I just think all of that combined is like so strange to then like circle back.
Girl, no.
Yeah.
Oh, the dating scene is looking good right
I
now.
mean, it's a no, but I just thought to bring it up as in it's so weird what happens nowadays. It's just become
Yeah.
bizarre. It's become the Twilight Zone. Like, I don't even know what to say about it. So I thought I'd bring that little fun tidbit.
A little lighthearted moment. But I also, if you guys have any like funny stories like that, where like an old date just out here coming back, let us know because is this happening a lot?
Of
Is
course it
everybody
does.
is everybody like lapping each other on the dating app? Like what is happening? What is
I
happening?
think we all are. It's not to bring it back, but there was a episode on How I Met Your Mother where like Ted, the hopeless romantic that we talked about last episode, he goes on the same date again, but 8 years later, and like they realize, oh my god, we've gone through all the single people in New York, and like we're on a date again.
Yeah.
And it also did remind me of that. I was just like, why are you coming back months later? Like it's giving that energy where like you went out there and it wasn't good, so you're coming back, to like a date you said that wasn't great. Like you sold it for me, man. Also, tip for people like that is not how you sell a return. You do
Also, you know
not
what's
sell a
funny?
return like that. You could have just been like, "Oh, like I think the date was a little awkward, but like you seemed interesting, like would love to catch up." Okay,
Or
I
like
could do with that. Don't
or at least be like, "Oh, I think we went on a date like a couple years ago, but work was so busy." Like, come on, man. You can't just remind me of the terrible moment. Like he straight up reminded you how terrible it was. Like for
Yeah,
all you know, you might have forgotten. Like it's just dumb.
exactly.
Dumb, dumb,
Yeah.
dumb.
I do have a life epiphany that I could talk about.
Yeah,
Okay.
tell us. I love your epiphanies.
So,
They're my
you
passion.
guys you guys know I love the self-development, just learning about human beings and like psychology and any like
Mhm.
advice on how to make life more fulfilling and just be like a better person, right? And
Yeah.
better understand ourselves. So, one, I've talked about Rick Rubin before, who is the guy who wrote The Creative Act, I believe. He's like this
Yeah.
very famous music producer. He's done like Kanye, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Lady Gaga, like he's done so many people, Rosalia. And one of the main things he talked, not main things, but one huge tip he had in his book and he like talks about on podcasts is writing your dreams down. And he says like whenever he wakes up, he has like a journal next to his bed and he writes down like
Mhm.
whatever he remembers from his dreams. And sometimes he just like will never look at it, but like years later, he'll look back and he'll be like, "Oh my god, this reflects what I was going on in my life then." And even though in the moment it doesn't make sense, right? You're like, why am I dreaming about the snake biting me? Like, it doesn't make sense, but
Yeah.
it loops around. And I was hearing another psychoanalyst, I think his name is Dr. James Hollis. He was talking with Andrew Huberman saying, if you want to get to know yourself better and your purpose and like understand your patterns, you should spend like 15 minutes at least alone a day, just thinking, meditating, like centering yourself and your purpose, but also write down your dreams and see
Mhm.
what the patterns are. So I have been thinking about the meaning of this dream that I have had for probably, I know at least the past 4 years, where I am back at school, I am back at UCLA, and I have 3 or 4 classes, and I was planning on dropping one of them. and I keep not going to this class. So, like, I'm missing the assignments, I'm missing the tests, and I'm obviously gonna fail. And then all of a sudden, it's the end of the semester. I forgot to drop the class because when you would withdraw, you would get something on your transcript, but you wouldn't like get a letter grade, right? So I
Yeah.
can't withdraw, and I'm just gonna get an F because like I haven't been showing up to this class. And I was like, why do I keep dreaming about school? Like, I've been out of school for so long. Like, it doesn't make sense. And it really clicked. It clicked,
I love
Natalia. I can't believe it clicked. But it is a huge, huge symbol for life, basically. And like, what I think one of my deepest, darkest fears is getting to a point where I look back on life and realize I quote unquote failed. And what that just
Mhm.
means is like I didn't do what I set out to do. I didn't finish the class that I was meant to
Yeah.
finish. And I just kind of let it pass by me without realizing it. Right. Because in the dream, it just passes by me and I get to the end of the semester. So, like, end of life. And then I realize, oh my God, I didn't take any action in this. And
Yeah, like, how did
I
this
just
happen?
yeah,
Yeah.
like, how did this happen? And I can't do anything to rectify it. So I was like, "Oh my god, this is a symbol for life." In a weird way, it was so powerful to realize, like, that was what my subconscious was trying to work out. It's trying to tell me, like, "You need to take action." So it just kept giving me this dream, and I'm
That's
telling you, Natalia, like,
crazy.
at least once a week, I would have this dream.
Once a week, that's crazy.
It's a lot, like, it would happen so often. I have other ones that I haven't worked out, like, I have a lot of, like, end of the world dreams, probably have similar themes or, like,
Yeah.
someone breaking into my house, but, yeah, I was wondering if you have any dreams that have looped for you that, like, are patterns?
I mean, okay, so I always talk about, "Oh, I'm a witch. I'm like a witchy woman." A
Yeah.
lot of the reasons I believe that is because I think that I do have this weird, like, psychic connection to dreams. A lot of the times I'll dream about something and it will actually come true later, or like I'll dream of like a metaphor. Like a very classic one that I always think about is it was one where like my house in Peru was on fire. This is like when I was like 12,
Mm.
pre-divorce, pre like we're about to move to America, and the house talked to me and only me, and it would say like it's over. This is done. And then at the end
Oh, that just
it
gave me
was
chills, that's so, like, symbolic.
this is when the dreams get crazy. And then my dream cue to like there was like a tsunami and it was like getting to the house, everything like that. And at the end of the tsunami, and this is pretty dramatic, but my dad and my older brother were taken to the sea, and then it was just me, my mom, and my little brother. My older brother and my dad stayed in Peru. Me and my mom and little brother moved to America. And I had this dream when I was like 10 or something. And then this all happened when I was like 12, 13. So yes, bitch, dreams are fucking real.
That is
Not to
so
get dark,
wild.
but that is like probably like my biggest dream that like came true. But I really do believe that it is our higher subconscious that's telling us something. Sometimes dreams can be literal, but I think that a lot of the
Yeah.
times the metaphors can mean something. Like, okay, like
Yes.
there was no
Yes.
tsunami in my real
Yeah.
life, you know? What it represents, it's like a bigger thing. Um,
100%.
so I feel like some people when they say like, "Oh, I don't dream," I just don't think that they're paying attention. And they say this with dreams is that if you go to bed and say the intention of I want something out of this dream session I'm about to have, um,
Mm.
it'll give it to you. Like what you need.
Yeah.
Cause even
Yeah, because you
sometimes
can
like
talk to
what
your
yeah.
subconscious.
100%. I even think that like I mean this is me getting extra woo woo, but I think that like our souls are connected in some weird like dream plane. Cause there are a lot of times where
Yeah.
I've had conflicts with people and like I have dreams that me and this person are having a conversation about it without an ego.
Oh, wow.
So it's real, Sheen. So
That's beautiful.
I think everybody should pay attention to the dreams. I think writing them down is like obviously great. But even if you don't want to go through the admin of like writing them down like every single day, I
Yeah.
feel like and there are some dreams that are just like la 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 la. But if you wake up and you feel like a sense of like impact or like a
Yeah.
strong emotion about it, I think that at the very least, if not all dreams, that's the one that you should write down. even if it was like something weird, like you were running around in your underwear in your dream and you're embarrassed, like just write that, and it gave you
Mhm.
like a strong emotion. I
Yeah.
think that it could mean something down the line. So I agree. That's
For
pretty
sure.
freaking cool.
Or like patterns within dreams. And I think
Yeah.
even if you like voice memo it to yourself, you could always do that. Cause I know like we're usually like when we remember it best is like in a half asleep state when you write when you wake up. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard to write it down, but you could always voice memo or write down a few words to remember it. Cause yeah,
That's
I like the perspective of Rick Rubin where he was like, it might not make sense today, but it's gonna make sense eventually. Cause that's how I felt about this dream. It was like something that just really didn't make sense. And it's crazy. So, yeah, I finally understand what he was saying. I understand what they were all saying. I get
yeah.
that dreams are
That's
us
cool.
like working something out. So,
Yeah.
my advice to the girlies is pay attention.
No, I think that's super cool. I have this book about dreams that I haven't read that it kind of talks about dreams as portals. So I'll retouch on this because
Okay.
I feel like it's fascinating and I think that it's a very powerful tool to unlock crazy things. So I'm happy that you're on board with that because sometimes when I talk about that with people, they're like, okay, girl, chill. It's helped me a lot in my life. So I'm excited for you to also pay attention to them.
Yeah. I just think it's like a thing to understand yourself and like your psyche more. Yeah, things you probably don't want to confront. I think that's the purpose of it, right? Like things you don't want to confront awake, you kind of get to confront when you're asleep. So
Yeah,
it's interesting.
I love that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess that's all we have for today. But
that is all we have.
I love this conversation.
Just one thing for whoever's listening, I think to give some little advice on how to listen to Chatty Rats, like the optimal way, guys, is to listen to it on Spotify, which is free for everyone because we've put a lot of work to like make it into video. And now we have like chapters divided. So if you want to skip through different sections, you know, like where one starts and where the other doesn't. And I think Spotify is the only place that we have that at the moment. So I would really advise you to listen to Spotify or even YouTube, because like YouTube, you can at least like see us as well. But if
Yeah,
not, feel free to listen on whatever you're comfortable. But I just want to say for optimal listening, the Spotify is the best because it's just perfect for podcasts and it's free.
and it's free. It's free. Write us a review. Give us some love. We need the love. Thank you so much. And we hope you have a good week and write those dreams down.
Love you, little rats. Bye.
Bye.